In the bustling town of Windermere, there stood an old shop at the end of a crooked lane. Its sign read, "Horatio's Timepieces, repairing what the world forgets." Most people passed it by, thinking it only sold clocks and watches. But inside, it was filled with secrets far greater than gears and springs. Horatio, the clockmaker, was a tall, thin man with spectacles that always slid down his nose. His hair was silver, and his hands never seemed to stop moving. He could fix any clock, no matter how broken. But there was one thing he never spoke of, the enormous clock hidden in the cellar. Few had ever seen it, and none knew its true purpose. One autumn evening, a boy named Elias wandered into the shop. He was 14, with ink-stained fingers and eyes full of wonder. Elias had been looking for work, anything to keep food on the table for himself and his little sister. "Do you need help sweeping floors?" Elias asked nervously. Horatio peered at him over his spectacles. "Sweeping, yes," he said. "But also, learning." Elias tilted his head. "Learning what?" Horatio smiled faintly. "Learning time." And so Elias became the clockmaker's apprentice. He swept the shop, dusted shelves, polished brass, and wound dozens of clocks every morning. But Horatio also taught him about gears, pendulums, and escapements. "A clock is not just a machine," Horatio explained one night. "It is a heartbeat. It remembers." Elias didn't understand at first, until one evening, when Horatio handed him a broken pocket watch. "This belonged to a sailor who never returned," Horatio murmured. "Listen closely." Elias pressed it to his ear. He gasped. A faint echo of the sea roared inside. "Every timepiece holds a memory," Horatio said. "Our job is not only to mend gears but to protect the stories they carry." Elias stared at the watch in awe. From that moment, he knew this was no ordinary shop. Days turned into weeks, and Elias learned quickly. He could polish glass until it shone, reset springs without snapping them, and align gears with steady hands. But the cellar remained locked. One night, Elias heard a low humming through the floorboards. It was rhythmic, like the pulse of a giant heart. His curiosity burned. "Master Horatio," Elias asked, "what's in the cellar?" Horatio's face darkened. "The great clock," he said simply. "It keeps more than hours. It keeps the world in balance." Elias's eyes widened. "Can I see it?" "Not yet," Horatio replied. "You're not ready." But fate had other plans. That winter, Windermere was struck by strange events. The sun rose late and set too soon. Hours seemed to vanish without reason. People grew restless, frightened. Some days felt endless, others slipped by in a blink. One afternoon, a nobleman barged into the shop. His cloak dripped with rain, and his eyes gleamed with greed. "Horatio," he barked, "the town's time is unraveling. You will fix it." Horatio bowed stiffly. "Time is delicate, Lord Bracken. It is not a toy." But Bracken slammed his fist on the counter. "Then I will take the great clock myself." Elias froze. So the nobleman knew. Horatio's jaw tightened. "Touch it, and you'll doom us all." Bracken sneered. "We'll see." He stormed out, his boots echoing on the cobblestones. That night, Horatio paced the shop, muttering. Elias watched him, uneasy. "Master," Elias whispered, "shouldn't we protect the clock?" Horatio sighed. "Yes. And soon, you must help me." At midnight, Horatio unlocked the cellar door. Together, they descended into the dim light. Elias gasped at what he saw. The great clock filled the room, taller than a cathedral. Its gears turned with slow majesty, each one etched with strange runes. Pendulums swung like silver sides. The air thrummed with energy. This, Horatio said softly, is the heart of time. Elias stepped closer. He could feel the clock's pulse in his bones. Why show me now? He asked. Horatio's eyes gleamed. Because time itself is breaking. And soon, I may not be here. Elias's chest tightened. Don't say that. But before Horatio could reply, the cellar doors burst open. Lord Bracken had returned, flanked by armed men. Seize it. Bracken commanded. Horatio raised his hands. Fools! If you disrupt the clock, the world will fall into chaos. Bracken ignored him. His men swarmed forward. Horatio thrust a small silver key into Elias's hand. Hide this. No matter what happens. Elias clutched it tightly. The men grabbed Horatio, dragging him away. Find the apprentice. Bracken snarled. Elias darted into the shadows, his heart pounding. He squeezed behind the gears, the key biting into his palm. The great clock groaned, its rhythm faltering. The ground trembled. Master! Elias cried. But Horatio was gone. Bracken's laughter echoed. At last, power is mine. Elias bit his lip. He couldn't let the nobleman win. He stared at the key, shining in his hand. Perhaps it was meant for the clock. Slowly, he climbed the towering gears. Each step echoed with metallic thunder. Whispers filled his ears, voices of lost hours, forgotten days. Remember us, they murmured. Restore us. Elias reached a small keyhole near the clock's core. His hands shook as he inserted the silver key. The gears shuddered. Then began to glow. Light spread across the runes. The pendulum swung faster, steadier. The trembling ceased. Time steadied. Bracken howled in fury. No! That power is mine. He lunged toward Elias. But the great clock roared, releasing a wave of energy. Bracken and his men were hurled back. They vanished into shadows, swallowed by time itself. Elias clung to the gears, gasping. Slowly, the light dimmed, leaving only the steady ticking. The cellar was silent. Horatio was gone. But the clock still turned. Days passed. The town returned to normal. Hours flowed smoothly once more. People stopped whispering of strange days. They carried on, unaware of how close the world had come to breaking. Only Elias remembered. He ran the shop now. Though he was still young. He repaired watches and clocks. But also listened to their stories. He kept Horatio's lessons close to his heart. Sometimes, late at night, he would descend to the cellar. The great clock loomed, eternal and solemn. Its steady tick comforted him. He would touch its gears gently and whisper, I'll protect you. I promise. Years rolled on. Elias grew older, wiser. He trained new apprentices, teaching them as Horatio had taught him. A clock is not just a machine, he told them. It is a heartbeat. It remembers. And he passed down the tale of the great clock. Some believed. Some did not. But Elias always kept the silver key around his neck. For he knew one truth above all, time must be protected. And stories must be remembered. One winter evening. As snow fell softly outside, Elias heard a familiar sound. A gentle humming from the cellar. He smiled. Good night, Master Horatio, he whispered. The great clock ticked on, eternal. And somewhere, Elias thought, Horatio was smiling too. For apprentices become masters. And time, though fragile, always finds a way to endure. Windmere slept peacefully. Clocks ticked in harmony. And the world, balanced once more, dreamed on. The end, though time, of course, never truly ends.